I don't need it. No music, no music. Well, well, well. A random show appears. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another show of the Daily Dose Show. Hold on, let me make sure y'all ain't hearing me twice. Nah, you guys are good. We're goaded. Alright, y'all, what's going on? It's another episode, another show of the Daily Dose, and today, football is back! Let's go. Football is back. You know we're feeling great. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? It's Thursday. We're almost there. It's almost Friday. It's almost the weekend. Ohio State doesn't play till Saturday. But we do have college football today, which means we have live games to talk about. And let's go. Sorry, you guys can still hear but that means we have plenty to talk about today. We're going to go through all the college football, all the NFL. We're going to talk predictions. We're talking stats. We're getting into it today because I did not talk any Ohio State. I really wanted to, but I did not. But guys, how are we doing today? Everybody good? I decided to drop a random show. I was feeling energized. I felt great, you know? But I'm trying to look here. Yeah, I mean, we're off to a terrible start in college football. There's absolutely no good games to talk about, but Bowling Green is winning, so that's about that. But we're here. We're live. Ohio State, man. They play Akron. Honestly, they're in the preseason. They're in the preseason as much as we hate to admit it. They are in the preseason. And they play Akron first game. I mean, it doesn't get any better for that. But you play Akron, and let me just look here. It doesn't get any harder for the first three games. You have Western Michigan, and you have Marshall for the first three games. So you're basically in the preseason, the games that just nobody gives a fuck about. I mean, honestly, we're not going to start really watching Ohio State football until September 28th against Michigan State. That's it. Other than Michigan State, I mean, then you go Michigan State, Iowa, Oregon, Nebraska, Penn State. I mean, it gets deep. You start to actually play opponents, but yeah, I mean, we're in the preseason, so all we can do is talk about the hype. Obviously, you assume and pray that Ohio State walks out 3-0 in the beginning of the preseason because it counts, but it's the preseason. Yeah, but I mean, they're ranked number 2 coming out. I think that's a perfectly fine number, to be honest with you, for a team that didn't even make the playoffs. They did not even make the playoffs. So we're sitting here and, I mean, we're talking about a number 2 Ohio State team, probably the best team in the country, favorites to win the national championships by many in the media and all around. I mean, this team is built to win now and in the future. I mean, they've just been going crazy in the transfer portal. They've been going crazy in general. So, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely insane. We're feeling good, but yeah, Ohio State, I mean, you come into it, it's going to be a long season. You have a lot of good games now with the new teams in the conference. You have plenty of opponents to play every year. So, it's really all just about, I think it's good that you have 3 games in the beginning of the season to kind of just warm up. You know, some of these guys haven't played together. A lot of these guys haven't played together. I mean, that's kind of how college goes. But you got a lot of your core players from the transfer portal. Your safety, your quarterback, one of your running backs. I mean, you got plenty of people from the transfer portal. So even backup quarterbacks. And so you're sitting here and you want them to get some gel in them. You have one of your wide receivers this year is going to be a freshman. That's insane. I mean, Jeremiah Smith is going to be a dog, and I mean, people are already talking about if he's going to be better than Marvin Harrison. I didn't think we could get much better than Marvin Harrison, but there's been so many good wide receivers to come out of Ohio State. But chat, I mean, how are we feeling today, guys? How are we feeling about Ohio State? I mean, Ohio State is an interesting case to me. And they're just something about them, man. Something about this team is getting me ready to go. They're getting me ready to go. I'm ready. I am so ready for this Ohio State season. I hate that there is a preseason because you want to see them play some good teams early and get to show and who they are. But we're gonna have to wait for that. But I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat this team, man. Defensively, offensively. I mean, if they click the right way, it's gonna be over. This might be the most talented team we've seen in a while, coming from an NFL draft perspective. And you know, a big case of it, just like the Cleveland Browns, it comes down to quarterback too. I mean, can Will Howard be that guy? I mean, I know they're deep at the quarterback and they have plenty of quarterback options to go from, but can Will Howard be that guy that you think he can be? Obviously, he didn't get as much recognition being from a smaller school, but the tools are there. He has shown that he can do it, and he can do it at a high level. And if he can be what we think he can be, Ohio State's going to be gunning. They're going to be absolutely gunning. And the good thing is that they have such a good run game. They have two of the best running backs in the country. Arguably the two best running backs in the country. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I mean, I can see this team just running the ball all the time, constantly. Even if you have a good run defense, the offensive line and the running backs are so good that it might not even matter. If one isn't working, the other one is most likely working. I mean, you had the best SEC running back and one of the best Big Ten quarterbacks or running backs, are now on the same team. So you get the best of both worlds. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. I mean, how can you not be excited? In 49 minutes, Minnesota plays the biggest game of the day, in my opinion, against UNC. I'm literally gonna turn it on so that I can watch while I'm talking to y'all, because that game's gonna be great. I mean, I might be ending the show around then, but no, it's gonna be magnificent. Good to see Minnesota kicking it off with a good game. Minnesota's always that middle tier team. It's every year we're just waiting for them to kind of break that threshold. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into all of it. I kind of just wanted to start off with some Ohio State, but the top 25. I want to break down the top 25. That's really what I'm here for. I'm going to go down from 25 to 1. And I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break down what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, where I think these teams are actually going to end up in the retrospect to the end of the year. How I think these teams are going to stack up at the end of the year. It's college football. A lot of these teams will not be in the top 25 at the end of the year. And so it's fun to guess, have a good guessing game on who we think is going to be battling. So, I mean, I'm going to start it off at number 25 with the last team in the top 25 rankings is a Big Ten, Iowa. Good old Iowa. No offense, Iowa. I'm telling you, the world is just patiently waiting right now for Iowa to just emerge out of the woodworks. We are all waiting for Iowa. Iowa is massive to the Big Ten in all sports, but football. With Iowa, we need some good Iowa football. It's always good when Iowa's good. I love when the Big Ten's good, but Iowa's that team I'm looking at right now. I mean, Iowa goes one or two ways. If we see an Iowa with offense, I think that they stay in the top 25. If I see an Iowa with no offense, that's defense again, then they probably won't be in the top 25. So they're a mixy one. I have them staying in the top 25. You know what? Yeah, I do. I have them staying in the top 25. I'm looking at this Iowa schedule, and they play Ohio State, Washington, Michigan State, Northwestern, Wisconsin, UCLA, Maryland, Nebraska. I think they can win a lot of those games. They play Illinois State, Iowa State, Troy, Minnesota in their beginning games. I think they can. I think they can stay in the top 25, especially if they have some offense to them. I think they stay top 25. NC State being in the top 25 just shows you how good college football is going to be this year. Because when NC State is in, everybody is in. When NC State is in the top 25 and is a good football program, life is good. That is when college football is at its peak. And I think they stay in the top 25. I think that's it. That's the key to this year being so good. NC State. Another Big Ten team, new Big Ten team, USC, coming in at number 23. USC, 23 is surprising. I mean, I get that they lost talent, and obviously Caleb Williams plays a big part in it. But I kind of think Caleb Williams was playing at like a B level. He wasn't really trying his hardest. He wasn't really there completely. So I think they finished a little bit higher than the 23 ranking that they have. Which brings me to Kansas. 22 Kansas. I think Kansas is going to be higher. A team that I always like to watch randomly. I always find myself watching Kansas. It's weird. I always find myself watching Kansas randomly on a Saturday. And so I think they're going to finish higher. I like their team. If their quarterback can stay healthy, this team can be a top 15 team. They can even potentially be pushing the playoffs. And that's crazy because Kansas was a one-win team. So, yeah, I mean, not much to say. I think they finish higher than 22 this year if they can stay healthy. So, Arizona at 21. Now, listen, I have no idea anything about it. I didn't even know they were good. I say they finish lower because I know nothing about them, and I don't know who. They probably have a really good quarterback, but I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm kind of thinking lower on Arizona there. Texas A&M, an SEC team, a more heavy and more stacked SEC. They got them at 20. They're always in the top 25. I say they finish higher than 20. 20 is a little low. We'll see. We'll see how they finish out. But Texas A&M, I think they finish a little higher. Miami, Florida at 19. Now, I think they finish higher. They're going to be a really, really, really good team this year. I think that they push the top 5, maybe make it outside of the 5 in the 7, 6, 7, 8 slot, but they're a top 10 team. I think they finish top 10. So Miami up, stock up on Miami. Kansas State. Kansas State's a weird team because, yeah, I mean, the Big 12 moved around a lot. Like the Big 12 has, I'm looking at their schedule. They got Oklahoma State, which is a ranked game, Arizona, which is a ranked game. We'll see how Arizona matches up, obviously. And it's all about how these teams finish. They have Houston, Arizona State, Cincinnati, Iowa State. I mean, I can see them winning all these games just simply because I don't really know how these teams are going to stack up that much. I don't know how much of these teams. Kansas is going to be a good game, obviously. Oklahoma State, Colorado, Arizona. Those are going to be good games. But in a conference that's gotten a lot weaker, I mean, you see you got a couple teams in the rank, but I mean, not much to spare there for sure, which I think Kansas State stays around that 18 mark. I don't know. They might go a little higher or a little lower, but I say 15 to 20 range. Oklahoma State, their competitor, I don't know much about Oklahoma State, to be honest with you. Obviously good enough to be 17. Their schedule looks a lot like their counterpart Kansas State. But once again, we're going to have to see how the team pans out, but it really depends on if they beat or lose to Kansas State. And so that's interesting to say nonetheless. Oklahoma, I think they finish lower. I think they finished lower than their expected results. Why? Well, because they're in the SEC now. They're in the big SEC, and I don't know how I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get adjusted to being in the SEC. It's a different ball game in that division. I know that they run it a lot, and they do, but they get in scrappy games, and in the SEC, you're going to lose those games. You're just going to lose them. It's the SEC. You got to play hard. I think Oklahoma finishes under. Tennessee at 15. Tennessee lost some players, gained some players. I don't know how I feel about Tennessee, but I feel like they're very well ranked at the 15 slot. I think they're a team that stays there. Obviously, you got Arch Manning, all that. You got a lot of hype around them. We'll see what they become, but I like them at the 15 slot, which brings us into 14, Clemson. I don't think Clemson's going to be any better. I think they go down. We'll be lucky if they're sniffing. I mean, it's Clemson, so the NCAA is going to do everything they can to keep them in the top 25, but it's the fall of Dabo Swinney, so not good. LSU at the 13. That's high. That's high for a team that just lost their quarterback, lost some players. We'll have to see who replaces Jayden Daniels. We'll have to see how everybody looks. I have them going down. I don't know. I don't know much about this team. Obviously, as this year goes on, I'm gonna update us on the rankings. We'll go through them again, kind of see how we were doing, see if I was wrong on some teams, right on some teams. But I have LSU stock down on the LSU stock. I don't know much about them. Utah's a team I like. I like Utah. Utah sitting in the 12 spot. I think that works out. I think the 12 spot is very nice. I think Utah's a solid team, but we'll have to see. I mean, a lot of these teams are have to sees. I mean, Utah has been good for a good while, and I think they continue to be good. I think they continue on that path. I can see Utah being in a top 10 slot, but right now Utah is the last team that would be in the college football playoffs in the 12-team bracket. 11 would be Missouri. I watched a lot of Missouri last year, and they were really good. Really, really good. They didn't lose their quarterback. I think that this is a team that's going to get better. I like Mizzou here. I like Mizzou in the 11, and I think that I think their stock's going to rise a little bit. I really do. I think that we got some stock rising on I really think that Mizzou is in a weird spot because the SEC gets a little harder, but I think they could win these games. I really do. Missouri always gives everybody a tough shout, and if they can come away with some of these wins, that's a team that sneaks into the playoffs. Number 10, Florida State. They will not be number 10, and they won't. They might finish top 25, but their stock is way down. We already watched them play. They looked awful. Wake Forest stock up. For sure. Michigan at the 9. I don't like Michigan at the 9. Stock down on Michigan. This isn't just biased from an Ohio State fan. Kind of is, but nonetheless, you lose a lot of NFL talent. You lose a lot of leadership. You get a new coach. It's a whole new program. I mean, a lot of drama over the offseason in this program. How are they going to handle it? No one knows. Nobody knows. I don't know. Nobody knows. Michigan's at the 9. I have their stock down. I think they finished top 25, but in a hard Big Ten this year, I see them losing some games they shouldn't, and so I have their stock down. Penn State at 8. Listen, as a Medina kid, I'm a Drew Aller fan. I love the kid. Grade below me. Played flag football with him. I love Drew Aller. I think that Penn State's Penn State's success all relies on how Drew Aller can play in his junior season. I mean, especially because now Drew's getting to a point where the NFL draft, this is the year that if he has a breakout year, he can find himself in the first round of the NFL draft. And so this is a big year for Penn State, and this is a big year for Drew Aller. Can they finally get over the hump of beating Michigan, beating Ohio State, beating these top-ranked teams? Can they finally get over the hump, win some games, and find themselves in the college football playoffs, making a run for the national championship? And I think that they can do it. Drew has the skills. He has all the weapons. They just needed to get some more wide receivers. You hope to see him come out, bounce back after a rough season last year. And, I mean, obviously it wasn't that rough if they find themselves in the 8th slot, especially ahead of Michigan. But it's a big year. It's a big year. I have their stock pretty middle. I think that they can stay in this position as long as they win and perform the way that they should. They're a really good team. I have Penn State staying around that 10 range, 8 to 10. I like it. If they only have one loss to Ohio State all year, I think they easily find themselves in a top slot in the division. Going down the line, we have Notre Dame at 7. This is a really good team with a really good coach. And Notre Dame is obviously, they play no conference championship. It's very weird with Notre Dame because, it's all ifs, ands, and buts with them. You just don't know what you're going to get with Notre Dame. They had an interesting season last year. They won some good games, lost some good games, but I mean, Notre Dame, I have their stock staying. I think they're going to make the college football playoffs this year. Not playing in a conference, I don't think that'll matter. I have Notre Dame staying around the same, maybe finding themselves in a higher up than 7, maybe top 5, as long as they just handle business and win games. Ole Miss at 6. That's very interesting. Ole Miss is a very good organization. The SEC's running high in the top. So is the Big Ten. I mean, it's a very big battle between the SEC and the Big Ten, and then Notre Dame. But I mean, Ole Miss, the SEC's packed. I mean, the SEC is absolutely packed. They have some really tough games in Florida, against Georgia, Oklahoma, LSU, Kentucky, in South Carolina. I mean, these are tough games. These are really tough games. These are games that you have to look at as an Ole Miss fan. You gotta hope that you win them, because if you don't, you're gonna find yourself outside of that college football playoffs that you're in right now. So I mean, as long as they handle business, but I think their stock is down. I don't think they finish at 6. I definitely think if they finish anywhere in the college football playoffs, it'll be low, around the 12, because I definitely think they're gonna lose a couple games. They're gonna be ranked games, but they're going to lose some games. Ole Miss's stock is down. Alabama at 5, their stock is down. We'll be lucky if they make the college football playoffs. It's going to be a very interesting turnaround for Alabama with the new coach. A lot of players leaving in the transfer portal. I mean, they got some players in the transfer portal and signed some recruits, but we're still going to be sitting here thinking, is Alabama going to make the college football playoffs? And I don't think they do. I think they fall out of it. I think they fall into the bottom 20s, but that's just me. I don't think that they have the. They lost a lot of good talent. Texas. I mean, this is the year for them. They're going even more all in than they were last year. So, I mean, Texas is going to ball out. I think they stay in the same position. 4. I think they stay in the top 5. They're gonna find themselves in that 4 and I honestly maybe in the top 4 again. And honestly, the top 4 I think is gonna stay semi together. I think Oregon and Ohio State just beat each other up, and the winners of those games will end up higher than the loser of the game. But other than that, I don't think there's much of a difference between the top 3 teams: Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas. Honestly, too. I think they're very concrete, and until one of them makes a slip up, which is bound to happen, I don't see that changing. I don't see the top 4 changing a lot. I really think it's a battle between 5 to 12 between a lot of teams. Everybody honestly is in, because as long all you have to do is get to 12 now. All you have to do is get to 12. It's not, can I sneak into 4? Can I sneak into here? Can I do it there? It's simply just the 4. It's the 4, and then it's the rest. And I mean, yeah, with college football starting, I think there's a lot of surprises. There's a lot of goods. There's a lot of bads, positives, negatives. I mean, it's going to be a very crazy up and down roller coaster season for all college football fans. I mean, it's college football. Anything can happen. You can lose to anybody on any given day. It's insane, but it happens. And I think this is going to be one of the best years in college football. I think there's a lot of different stories, a lot of different aspects of the game, and a lot of really good players that are going to be playing for their name in the draft. I've already mentioned one in Drew Aller, Texas, Ewers. I mean, these players are going to be going. These players are going to be hot. They're going to be looking to get some steam and their name high on that draft board. Shedeur Sanders, if he wants to go to the draft. There's a lot of good quarterbacks that are going to be playing for their jobs in the NFL. And so this is going to be a great year of college football. But now that we about hit that halfway mark, I'm going to start tinkering my way. I will talk a little bit more about Ohio State because I do want to talk about Ryan Day. To Ryan Day, I mean, you have one job this year, and that's to beat Michigan. Ohio State fans, we can lose every game. As long as we win against Michigan, life is so much better. Please, I pray, please, let us beat Michigan. Let's have a great year. Go win a national championship with the team you should, so that you can solidify yourself as the coach, as you can win it all. You can win it. You can beat Michigan, so that we're not sitting here every year wondering if you're going to have your job, because as long as you beat Michigan, you will. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, this is the year Ryan Day, if they lose to Michigan and they do not win a national championship, to be honest with you, or at least make it to the game, then I think it's done. I think Ohio State fans are going to be fed up. And I think the organization's going to be fed up, because that's what we expect. We expect excellence. We expect the top tier. That's why we are the Ohio State. So, yeah, I mean, with Ohio State, it's all about Ryan Day. It's all about can this team gel together and form something and form a championship team. And we're going to find out. First test is Akron. If it's much of a test, more like the preseason. But yeah, that's Ohio State football, to be honest with you. That's Ohio State football. I'm going to get into the Browns, because that's what we talk about a lot on the Daily Dose show. We're going to have post-game shows throughout the entire time, all of it. I got you. But we're going to be talking a lot of sports. Especially on Sundays, talking a lot of Browns. But I did want to talk because there's a lot of moves being made, a lot of people. The reconstruction of Deshaun Watson's contract, we're going to dive into that and what it could mean not for the NFL, but for the Browns. Going forward in this season, you went from one of the lowest to maybe even the lowest cap space in the NFL to one of the highest. You now have the most cap space in the NFL, and yeah, so we're sitting here, and a lot of it, if not all of it, is going to go to re-signing players. If anything, they might save some money just in case injuries happen. You got to pick up some players, make a trade or something, pay somebody. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen, but most of it's going to go to re-signing players, getting players on big contracts. Obviously, they signed JOK. I think this means Amari Cooper is going to get a contract that he wants. I think this means that a lot of good for a lot of players that we need to lock up for a long term if we want success for the long term. So reconstructing Deshaun Watson's contract, I mean, it just gives you so much wiggle room. It proves Andrew Berry and the organization know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're handling business. They know what they're going to do. They have a vision for the future and for right now, and they're doing them both at the same time. We're getting a little taste of the future and a little taste of the present, and it's great. It's a great time to be a Cleveland sports fan, and obviously none of this means anything if we don't get good performance by Deshaun Watson. And, I mean, yeah, that's obviously the key. Deshaun Watson is the key to the Cleveland Browns' success. If he can be a top 12 quarterback in the league, the Browns will be Super Bowl contenders. And a lot of people are like, ha, 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 he, and whatever. But it's a real thing. And it's something that everybody is halfway through the season, 3/4 of the way through the season, is going to be sitting there like, wow, the Cleveland Browns are a playoff football team. And us Cleveland Browns fans are going to be like, yeah, and we knew it all along. We knew Deshaun Watson could be who he needed to be. He can still be a top 12 quarterback in the league. I know he can. I know he can be a top 12 quarterback. And if he is, then the Browns are going to go and be Super Bowl contenders. The San Francisco 49ers showed that every single time. And it's time for Deshaun Watson to get his get back on Patrick Mahomes. It's time for him to get his get back on the league for wasting a good prime of his career. And so this is the year that Deshaun Watson goes full mode with all the weapons that he has on the offense and defensive side. Last year was like almost there. We were this close to being there. And I think even without Deshaun's injury, I think we had way too many injuries all around that we were not going to be in a good position. This year we're hoping for health. We have depth. Even some of the practice squad members, like you have Huntley that potentially could get to the practice squad even though he was released. And that way D'Onta Foreman could actually come back onto the 53-man roster. That's great news because that means that you have 3 running backs to start the year. Obviously, with Chubb being on the PUP list, he is not on the initial 53-man. So you have 3 running backs, and you have 3 solid running backs, D'Onta Foreman, Jerome Ford, and Pierre Strong. All different personalities, can do different things, and that's big. That's big. You added Prochet and Michael Woods, made it back to the practice squad. All that is big news. Yeah, I mean, the Browns are in a very good spot with a lot of depth in positions that they need. They have a lot of linebackers. They have a lot of safeties. They have a good amount of cornerbacks. They have 3 running backs, and then they'll probably drop one to get Chubb back on the list. Who that is, we don't know. We'll have to see in performance, obviously, for the rest of the year. Yeah, I mean, it's big news. It's big news all around Cleveland. Everything's going well. The Browns just made some good news. We get some Ohio State football, whether it's against Akron or not. We get some Ohio State football this weekend. We get some football on Thursday. I mean, we're really only 2 shows away from NFL football. We have the Sunday show and we have the Wednesday show, and then we're going to be talking about football on that Sunday show with the Browns playing the Cowboys and all around the NFL. And obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL as a whole, but I mean, there's a lot of good stuff to talk about in the NFL. I mean, even just by going through fantasy, there's so much talent in the running backs and wide receivers and quarterbacks and tight ends, and it's really a good time to be a football fan because a lot of these teams that were kind of wiping off and stuff have potential. You know, a lot of these teams have potential. Obviously, there's going to be your teams that crumble. I really think Minnesota is set up to fail right now. I really think that there are some teams that are set up to fail. But there's a lot of teams on the up, and we're going to kind of talk about that. I'll talk about a couple of teams that I think could make some surprises, and I'm going to talk about a few teams that are higher up that I think might fall down to the ground. And so, yeah, I mean, the Browns are a team I obviously have on the up. I really think this team is going to make it to the AFC Championship game minimum this year. I think they can win a Super Bowl. But I really think that what's a team on the up? I think Cowboys are on the down. I think they're fluttering right now. They're in a very weird headspin where they're kind of adding old players back. They're kind of just they're doing things they shouldn't do. The Cowboys are doing cowboy things right now, and I really don't think fans are very happy about the Cowboys right now. But a team on the up, I have the Commanders, a counterpart in their division. Jaden Daniels, if he can be even a top 15-ish quarterback coming into his rookie year, that team can do very good things. They have good wide receivers. They have a couple good running backs. They have a good offensive line. They have a decent defense. That's a team that's all around built to definitely win some games this year and potentially be looking at a low playoff spot and maybe just outside of it. But that's a team that can make a run this year if they get some luck going their way, win a couple close games. But, yeah, I mean, other than that in the division, the Eagles are, I mean, it all depends on if we can get, Jalen Hurts was playing injured apparently. So, obviously, we take that into effect. If we can get a good Jalen Hurts can be really good. But, yeah, I mean, that division's kind of just always up in the air. It's either really good or really bad. So, but, yeah, I mean, obviously the Browns division, I have the Browns on the up. I think I have the Steelers on the down still. I have the Bengals on the down, on a weird down, just with some tension in the wide receiver room, not doing much in the offseason. They obviously you lose Joe Mixon. They added some wide running back depth, but I got the Bengals on the down. I have the Ravens and the Browns on the up. I think those are the two teams that are running the division right now. And in the Jets, Buffalo, New England, Miami division, I have obviously I think I have Buffalo on the down. I have Buffalo on the down just because they lost a lot of weapons. We're hoping that they can get some good they can get some good talent. We're hoping that Josh Allen can step up. They lost Diggs, and stuff and things like that. But I have them on the down. I don't think they're going to be at that higher tier that they were before. I have Miami. I like them. I have them. I'll put them in the up because I have some. I have them. Yeah, we'll do them on the up. Miami, New England on the down, 100%. That's how that's gonna go. Depending, I mean, we'll see how New England goes quarterback wise, but I mean, yeah, that division's a fluster. Tennessee, Houston. Tennessee's on the down. Houston's on the up. Jacksonville's on the down. Indianapolis is on the up. That's just simple, easy. Two young quarterbacks in the Texans and the Colts that have weapons around them. Very good teams. The other two, Jacksonville, I don't like their team. Their defense is not that good. Their offense is very okay. ETN's very good. Trevor Lawrence is very all right. I think he got paid a lot more than he should have. We talked about that yesterday. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That division's that. Stroud is obviously a beast. Texans are loaded. They're going to be contenders. What division? Oh, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos. Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs. That division, Chiefs on the up, Chargers on the down, Denver on the down, Oakland on like the slight up, just because I think they have the most potential out of those bottom teams, to be honest with you. So I'll put them on the up, but this is the Chiefs division right now, unless Oakland can somehow do something about it. So that division's a whole mess. I don't even know. You got the Falcons, Panthers, Saints. Falcons, Panthers. Who else is in that division? Falcons, Panthers, Saints. Falcons, Panthers, Saints. What other team is in that division, chap? What's going on? Why am I blanking on this team? Why am I blanking on this team? Boo, 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 boo. Who is the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, the Buccaneers? Sorry, chat, I'm retarded. The Buccaneers. Buccaneers on the up. Falcons on the up. The rest of the two down. I don't really like that division that much, to be honest with you. But yeah, that leaves us on to the last division. The best for last, not really, but that brings us to the Bears, the Packers, the Lions, the Tigers, the Bears, oh my, and the Vikings. Vikings on the down. Lions on the up, Packers on the up, Bears on the down. I don't like, I do not like, I know he's going to be good, but I just don't like him. Don't like him, guys. I really don't like their quarterbacks. I don't like their chemistry on their team. I think there's a lot of hype. I think the Bears are going to be the Bears. I think the NFL is going to roll out with the Browns winning the Super Bowl, of fucking course. The Ravens, Browns. The Ravens, the Browns, the Texans, the Chiefs. Those are going to be your teams competing, really. With a couple other teams that maybe make their way in. And the NFC side, it's going to be the Lions. It's going to be the Tigers and the Bears. No, obviously not. It's going to be the Lions. It's going to be Green Bay. It's going to be San Francisco, obviously. I think they're going to have a down year. But San Fran. Oh, I forgot to mention that. San Fran, Seattle, Rams. And one other shitty team division. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a whole interesting thing. The Rams, interesting. The NFC is always an interesting take on who's gonna come out. If it's not the 49ers, it's gonna be a very random team. We're gonna have to see, but yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting off season. It's gonna be an interesting season this year in the NFL. I have a lot of good predictions. I have a lot of good things. I can't wait to start talking about in the season. I can't wait to start talking about players actually playing, seeing real-time stats, looking at real-time upsets, talking real-life football. This is all hypothetical. I wanted to come on here to mostly talk about Ohio State. We talked a lot about the Browns yesterday. They did make some moves I wanted to talk about. But it was mostly Ohio State because I love Ohio State, and I love when they're winning. I think they're going to win. They might even hoist this trophy, and I am going to absolutely love my life. Now, yeah, as we get to the end of the stream, I'm going to remind you guys, please like, subscribe. Make sure you guys check out the social medias. There's a 6 at the end for TikTok. We post a lot of good content there, a lot of fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's been a kind of quick show. I didn't even know if we were going to hit the hour mark, to be honest with you, because I knew it was going to be a quick one, but I did want to get a show in today just because I love you guys. Wanted to get on here and talk some sports now that we're getting some hype. I am going to watch the Minnesota game. It's going to be great. I'm going to watch college football and a good game, and I'm going to enjoy my time. I see Lawrence Butler had a 3-homer game. Well, that's crazy. That's insane. But I love you guys. You guys are great. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. It was a kind of quick show, but I just wanted to talk some Ohio State with you guys. I just wanted to talk a little bit of football because football is back and I was excited. I had to rant to somebody. You guys are the best. You guys are the real ones. We will be live for our typical Sunday show with Dom. We're going to be talking all the good stuff. We'll talk a little Ohio State versus Akron. The Guardians are going to be at the end of the series against the Royals and the end of the series against Pittsburgh. That's not even true. We'll be at the end of the series against Pittsburgh, though, by the next time we talk. So we'll be able to talk a little bit about that series. Hopefully it's a clean sweep and we're happy. But nonetheless, I love you guys. You guys